Hi class. So we are just waiting 2 more minutes. Am I audible clearly? Yeah. Yeah. Fine. So mm, just share. Just a minute. PC screen only. Okay. So at someone's house, a bird is making a very beautiful sound. So I think he or she needs to mute the mic, or we have a nice echo along with printfs. Mute all. Fine. So Dropbox. This. Okay, today guys, the Dropbox synced or it is still having some issues? Acha, I am muted also. Okay, nevertheless, we have a good amount of participants now. So continuing with functions, and today is a very important topic. I hope you just scan through the 20 pages of Yashwant Kanetkar's Let Us See from page 195 from the PDF, right? So, but anyways, I will explain you everything that happens on those 20 pages, right? So now let us see a function which is doing swapping of two numbers, right? Swapping of two numbers means, for example, in this particular case, our standard is stdio. We begin with main. You can also have int main here. There is no issue. You can have int main and then you can do return 0. Since it was void, so there is no need to return anything. So I have two variables a and b initialized to 100 and 200, right? So I'm printing just the values before swap. Value of a, obviously it is 100, and value of b is obviously 200. You now see I'm calling a swap function, right? So what does swap contain? Swap contains two values, a and b, right? So what happens technically in swap function, if you see, internally it will be passed like this, 100 comma 200, right? Because the value of a is 100 and value of b is 200. So immediately when you call a function, how you determine a function? Round parenthesis, right? It has a round parenthesis. So printf is also a function, but it is predefined in the C compiler, right? So you need not write a function definition for printf or scanf. Swap, you wrote a definition. So what is happening in swap? So integer x and integer y, right? So it, as I said, it is respectively. A will be copied to x. So naturally, x will become, the value of a was 100 and y would become 200, right? So a gets copied to x and b gets copied to y. And we have a standard 3-line code for swapping something. So what do? I initialize a temporary variable. So let me just show you how it happens, right? So the code is, so for a swap function with integer x and integer y. Now we know that x is 100 in our case and y is 200 in our case, right? So what happens? I am defining integer temp. So we have temp is equal to x, x is equal to y, and y is equal to x. Let us draw three rectangles here, right? So this is temp, this is x, and this is y. So initially what happens, we are defining integer as temp. So some compilers may auto initialize to 0. Older compilers will give temp a random value, right? So what I'm saying here, the value of x is copied to temp. So what was the value of x here? The value of x was 100, right? As of now, the value of x is 100. So temp basically contains 100, x contains 100, and y contains 200, right? So basically, we executed this statement. As you remember in C, from the right hand side, the value goes to the left hand side, right? From the right hand side, the value goes to the left hand side. Now what I am saying, the value of y is copied to the value of x, right? So I just write this as step 1, right? Now let me again draw 3 rectangles. So I'm saying the value of y gets copied to x. So let me just change the pen color to, let's say, red. So the value of y was 200, it is copied to x. So the value of x now becomes 200, and of course the value of y will be unchanged and the value of temp remains as it is. So value of temp will remain 100 itself, because we are not changing the value of temp, right? So now if you see, I am losing out the value of x, right? X and y at this step contain both 200, but to avoid this I already stored the value of x in a variable temp. See, temp still contains 100, which was nothing but the value of x that you can see in step 1, right? Now what happens in step 3? Let me just draw 3 rectangles again. Sorry, this is step 2 and this is step 3. Step 3 says the value of x, y equal to temp. My mistake, my bad. Y is equal to temp, right? So let me just erase this out and write it again. Save. Oh, I lost. Sorry. Let me draw it again. It should be there. View. Okay. Right. So what happens now? Let me do it again. So the system is behaving a bit strange. So we have a swap function with integer x and integer y. I am initializing the value as, I am taking a temporary variable. Temp is equal to x, x is equal to y, and y is equal to temp, right? And let me draw 3 rectangles for every step. So whenever you initialize a variable, you can assume a rectangle of this sort, right? This is step 1, step 2, and step 3. So initially when we passed from the main, we had this particular thing. We had passed the value 100 and 200, so that you have already seen. 100 and 200. Let me make this as temp. This is x. So initially temp was nothing. When we declared here, either 0 or some random value. So let us assume it is 0. This is 100 and 200. Then when you do temp is equal to x, what will be the value of temp? It will contain the value of x. So x basically comes here. So x, the value is here. Rest other values still remain the same. This will be 100. This will be 200. In the next step, so basically this step is here. In the next step, I am saying the value of y goes to x. So what happens here? This value y basically goes to x. So pen color is red. So the value of y goes to x, right? So value of temp and y does not change. So let me make it in back color only. So these are unchanged value. So as you see now, x and y both are 200. Fine. Now what I needed to swap the value. So x is 200, that is okay. Initially x was 100, now x became 200, but now I need y to be 100. So how can I make y equal to 100? I already have the value 100 in the temp. So what I'm doing, y is equal to temp. So let me draw this again. So what was temp was 100. Now temp basically goes into y. So let me change the pen color to red again, because I am only indicating the value which was changed. So this becomes 100. Again I change the pen color, and temp was 100 and this was 200. So now if you see, let me again change the pen color to blue. We started with x and y being 100 and 200, and we end up with x and y being 200 and 100. So we have successfully swapped the variables. right? So once again, I will just show you. Writing a swapping program is super easy. You just remember a cyclic loop actually. This, let me just do a next. So whenever you write a swapping program, you initialize a temporary variable and you take your two variables, right? And you can just go in a clockwise direction, right? So basically, if I just write this, so it becomes temp is equal to x, x is equal to y, right? X is equal to y, temp is equal to this. So temp is equal to x, x is equal to y, and y is equal to temp, right? That's a 3-line standard code for swapping two numbers. Okay, now what is the issue? Let us see the code again. So before swap, we know it was 100 and 200. That is fine. So you can see the output before swap, value of A is 100 and value of B is 200. Then I call the swap function. In the swap function, as you saw, the variables are basically swapped, right? So in the swap function, as the output says, value of x is 200 and value of y is 100. You can see it is swapped, right? 100, 200 becomes 200, 100. Now see, after swap, right? So basically what happens, these two lines get printed, the function ends. So when the function ends, it returns to the semicolon from where it was called. It returns at this particular point. Now again, I am printing the value of A and B. And you can see, I am getting the original values. I don't get the swapped values, right? I am again seeing 100 and 200. Now, why does this happen? Right? So there is a phenomena in C which is known as call by value. So let me just explain you. And you may think that, okay, since we are collecting this as, X and Y, that is why it is not swapping. Even if you keep this as A and B. So let me just copy this function again. And let's say I make this A and B. So temp equal to A will be becoming this, and this is B, and this is B. Right? So even if it is A and B, I will just show you that the output will still be the same, right? So basically you may think that, okay, A and B gets copied to A and B, so it may become the same answer and it may actually swap. No, that is not the case. Okay, sorry. This is A and B. A and B. So let me clear the screen and run the code again. So you can see it is 100, 200 before swap. In the function, it is 200 and 100. And after swap, the value of A and B is again 100 and 200. So whether you keep A or B or X and Y, it does not matter, right? So just let me, okay, just let me undo it. Okay. Right now, I will explain you the logic. Why did the functions did not change the value in the main, right? So just let me go to the sheet here. I will just do a next here. Okay. So I am just briefly writing the function, right? So that I can explain you the main part, right? So I have A is equal to 100 and B is equal to 200, and then I am using a swap function and passing A comma B, right? And then finally I have a swap function here that takes in X and Y, and this is basically the swap logic, right? So now let us see what actually happens here. So the compiler will basically start from int main and assign two variables A and B. So when I say it assigns two variables A and B, so now let me maximize this and show menu. Pen color is black. So when I say integer A and B, what does basically computer or the compiler does in the memory? It basically makes two boxes, one for A and one for B. So this is A and this is B, and which are given the values 100 and 200. So here we are actually looking pass by value. Okay. Now when you call the swap function, right? So swap function internally passes 100 and 200 to the function. So what happens? This value actually gets copied here, right? actually gets copied, or you can remember like a photocopy or a Xerox. Hence it is called pass by value. So when you are passing A and B, the value actually gets copied to X and Y. Now what do I mean by gets copied to X and Y? So the compiler will actually make two more boxes with X and Y. Now since A is copied to X, the value that will be copied to X is 100. Since B is copied to Y, the value actually copied is 200, right? Now you know the logic of the swapping function as we have already seen. So let me just write in brief. So what I am doing temp is equal to X, X is equal to Y, and Y is equal to temp. Now since I have a new variable called temp, the compiler will again make a new box. So it makes a new box and says as temp, right? Now you already seen the logic in the previous slide that all these variables will get swapped, and finally what will remain? Finally what remains is X gets 200, Y gets 100, and of course temp had the value of X initially. So now just keep in mind that these two are box number 1, which was belonging to the box main. So these two boxes actually belong to the main function. See, main is also a function, right? Round parenthesis. And the bottom two boxes this belong to the swap function. So these two are independent boxes. Like you can assume like if in a building there are 10 flats, right? And every flat is provided, let's say, with a cupboard. So all those 10 flats are independent in themselves. They can keep whatever stuff they want to keep in their cupboard. So there is no sharing mechanism as such. So just remember, whenever you do pass by value, the value is actually copied to the variables, right? Even if I keep them, even if I make these variable as the name A or B, it does not matter. The compiler will assign a separate memory space for them, which is totally independent of the main space. See, you can see there is no intersection between these two, right? No sharing. So now you understand basically what we swapped the values of X and Y, thinking that we were swapping the values of A and B, but that does not happen. The contents are actually copied to the swap function. Changes are happening to X and Y, but not to A and B. Hence, what do you do when you print the values before call? It printed, let's say, print before call. It was 100 and 200. So now in the function, what happens? In the function, basically you are swapping X and Y, the copied variables. So in the function, 100 and 200. When the function gets over, it comes to the main. When it comes to the main, it knows I have to display the value of A and B, which were nothing but 100 and 200. So any doubts or queries till now? What happens in pass by value? So why this method is called pass by value? Because you are passing the variables with their values, which eventually get there in the function and are processed. So if the doubt is like, if we want to actually change the variables A and B, how can we do that? That we will see in the next part of the lecture. But any doubt or any issues till now? Okay, so I hope this program was easy and it was understood well. So guys, let us take a break for 3 minutes, right? It's 10:51. Let's come back on 10:54 and then we continue with the lecture. हेलो। हाँ हाँ दीदी, आप आए हैं क्या कॉलेज आज? अच्छा, तो आप 11:30 बजे आ जाएंगे मेरे घर पे बर्तन के लिए आज? अच्छा, लेट होगा तो लगभग कब आ सकते हैं आप? अच्छा हाँ, चलेगा, ठीक है। ओके। हाँ उमंग बोलो। नहीं, डीन से बात की, समाव सुनने को तैयार नहीं है। बहुत ज़्यादा कन्विंस किया, तो वो बोले हैं कि 10th में तक करना ही पड़ेगा जो भी हो। मैंने बोला जब 2 दिन एक्सटेंड हुआ है तो हर चीज़ ही 2 दिन एक्सटेंड होनी चाहिए। उसने बोला नहीं, वो जैसा भी है मैनेज करो। हाँ, मुझे वो ही नहीं समझा। मैंने बोला कि अगर 10 दिन एग्ज़ाम एक्सटेंड होता तो क्या आईएपीसी, आईएपीसी बेसिकली एक होती है टाइम पास टाइप, वो एक, ठीक है, उसमें होता कुछ है नहीं, बस हाँ 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 डायरेक्टर रहता है। मुझे लगता है इन्होंने अपॉइंटमेंट लेके रख लिया था पहले से, तो अब वो चेंज नहीं करना चाह रहे हैं। हमारे यहाँ दूसरे फैकल्टीज ने भी लिखा है, बट नहीं सुन रहे हैं। अनफॉर्चुनेट है, मुझे पता है, क्योंकि आसिफ सर शायद प्रीपोन कर दिया ना उन्होंने अपना एग्जाम एक दिन। अच्छा, प्रीपोन इन द सेंस शायद 6th को ले रहे हैं ना अब, वो 6th या 7th। हाँ, तो अब वो डीन सुनने को ही तैयार नहीं, जबकि इस सेमेस्टर में तो कोई इशू होता नहीं है वैसे, क्योंकि मई सेमेस्टर है ना, 2.5 महीने का ब्रेक मिलता है हम लोग को। दिसंबर में इशू होता है। बहुत ज़्यादा इशू है भाई, बीटीपी भी कराना है। अब ऐसे 7th को पेपर दे के हम तुम लोग को बोलेंगे कि 9th को या 8th को बीटीपी दो, मुझे ही खराब लगता है, बट सुनने को ही तैयार नहीं है। तुम ट्राई करो एज अ स्टूडेंट बॉडी बात करने का, ठीक है, क्योंकि मैंने ट्राई किया है और सोमनाथ सर ने भी ट्राई किया है, नहीं मान रहे हैं। मैंने उनको यही पूछा कि अगर 10 दिन एग्जाम एक्सटेंड होते तो क्या आईएपी, आई मीन फिर भी आप 10 तारीख को ही बोलते ग्रेड सबमिट करने को बिना एग्जाम लिए, ताकि 11 को आईएपीसी हो सके। इस पर उन्होंने कोई आंसर ही नहीं दिया। नहीं, अब तो वो नहीं हुआ ना, अब तो 2 ही दिन एक्सटेंड हुआ। ठीक है, उनको मैंने बताया भी कि सीएसई में 10 सब्जेक्ट है, 5 लेवल कोर्सेस। ऑफलाइन केस में मैं 7 दिन में 14 एग्जाम करा सकता हूँ, बट यहाँ मैं 10 दिन में 10 ही पेपर करा सकता हूँ। ठीक है, सो इस बार बीटीबी भी कराना है, टेक्निकली तुम लोग को थीसिस भी लिखना है, वो सब भी है। हाँ, तो ये वाला है। अब 9th को लिखा है उन्होंने ग्रेड सबमिशन, 9th को ग्रेड सबमिशन है। तो मेरे ख्याल से तुम एक बार बात करके देखो, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ से सोमनाथ सर ने भी बात किया है और मैंने भी बात किया है। और आई थिंक किसी डिपार्टमेंट का ऐसा केस आया ही नहीं कि उनके इतने इलेक्टिव जो दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट के लिए ओपन है, तो वो अपने तौर पे मैनेज कर रहे हैं। हाँ, राहुल पांडे को बोलो, एटलीस्ट वो अपना केस बता पाएगा कि, बट उसको यही बोलना कि उनको ये पूछना कि इशू क्या है, कि अगर 2 दिन एक्सटेंड होता है, क्योंकि जब एंड सेम 2 दिन एक्सटेंड हुआ है तो ऑब्वियसली सब चीजें 2 दिन एक्सटेंड होनी चाहिए। और ये पॉइंट रखने को बोलना कि सर अगर 10 दिन एक्सटेंड होता तो भी क्या हम आईएपीसी, क्योंकि 11 को है, वो तभी रख पाते क्या, बस ये चीज पूछ लेना। मैंने बहुत ट्राई किया उमंग, और मैंने तुम्हें प्रॉमिस भी किया था, आई एम सॉरी, बट मुझे लगा कि दिस वाज सच अ, हाँ वही थोड़ा एक इशू है, तो एक बार राहुल पांडे को बोलो। ठीक है उमंग, मेरा लेक्चर है, मैं अभी रखता हूँ। चल, ओके, फर्स्ट ईयर। Okay class, so we are back. Now we will see how can we write a same function and basically change the value in the function as well as change the value in the main. So let me just maximize this. Okay, so before that we need to just understand the concept of a pointer. right? So this will be a very basic lecture on pointers, so don't worry, nothing very hard or very tough, because people usually have a notion that pointers are very tough and it is difficult to code. It's nothing like that, right? So if you have read the, let us see, the 20 pages which I said to you, this will be very easy for you. But if you have not read, don't worry, I will explain to you in the most simplest manner. So class, just see this code. I am just copy pasting the same code again and again. So let me remove this. Basically the code is just 2 lines, right? Let me execute the code, right? So I am defining an integer a is equal to 5, right? And what I'm printing, address of see, lu is unsigned long integer. Unsigned means it will always print a positive value. Long means it will allow double the space. So I can even use a percentage d here, that will not be an issue. And you can see instead of a, so let me just copy this. So what we normally write is value of a is equal to %d, and I just print this. So let me again execute this code. So you can see value of a is 5. Okay. Then address I am writing. So you can see instead of a, what I am printing the value of ampersand a. For your convenience, if you want, I can actually keep this as %d only, right? So that it is easier for you to check it out. So value of a, this always you have seen from the very first code. And now what I'm typing here is address is. And see, instead of a, what I'm printing, ampersand a, right? I will explain you what is this ampersand. And then I'm printing value at the address. So let me make this again %d is %d. See what I'm printing here, ampersand a, which is same as this case. And I'm also printing something called as star ampersand a, right? So too many new terminologies, but let us just see the output. So I'm saying value of a is 5. So we know that value of a is 5, and address is okay. So address of a is, let us have some good output. So address of a is this, and value at the address is 5. So now let me just make a memory diagram for your understanding. So let me just make this on the left hand side and this on the right hand side. Pen. Okay. Next, pen color is black. Okay. So now what happens? So you have a main here. This is 4 out of 9. So you have a main here, and then you say integer a is equal to 5, right? And then you are printing. So internally, as I said, what happens when you say integer a is equal to 5 in the memory, right? So the memory, when the program is running, basically the program runs into the RAM. So this will be the address that is stored in the RAM, right? So in memory, the representation will be something like this. So let me just say show menu, pen color is blue. And what was the value that we got here? 64,000, 64,223,300. So guys, when you execute the code on your machine, this value will change, right? Because every computer has a different configuration, different amount of RAM, and at that particular location, whether the free location is available or not, right? But this value will be random based on the compiler execution. And so don't worry about if this value does not match with 64,222,330, right? And what I'm writing here, value at the address, right? So let me just write this as address. Okay, so now just check this. So I declared a variable integer a, and now let me just make it more colorful. This is ampersand a, star ampersand a, and make it this. So the moment you initialize a is equal to 5, the compiler, what it does in the memory is assign a rectangle, assign a box, keep the value 5, and see, in memory for computers variable names are nothing, right? Variables name does not mean anything to the computer. For a computer everything is stored at an address. Like you example, for example, you store your movies in D drive. Movies, within the movies you make separate folders, animation, right, action, and all those genres. Similarly for computer, the moment I declare a is equal to 5, right, let's say you have a RAM of 12 GB and a hard disk of, let's say, 1 TB. While the program is under execution, it will find out some free space in the RAM and give this value 5 and store it there, store it safely. Everybody of you has an address right now, right? Everybody staying at their homes, everybody has an address, and that address is unique to you, right? I cannot have two persons with the same exact address, right? Every address is unique. Similarly for computers, every address is unique in memory. So now when I say a is equal to 5, I get the value stored, and actually it is stored in some computer location. It is stored in some computer location which is identified by this particular number. Now, as for humans, we cannot remember the memory locations. We are too weak to remember the memory locations. Just like you do not call your friends by their roll number, right? Roll number is unique to this guy, right? You do not call, hi, 2001 CS42, can you give me this assignment? You do not say this. You directly call the name of the guy. Same representation is, since we humans cannot remember the address, we assign variable names to it, right? So this variable name a is a representation of this particular computer address, right? So when you refer to a guy by their name, you are internally representing that guy to the roll number, right? The roll number and the variable name. So similarly, if I say integer b is equal to 10, what will be the computer doing? In some memory location it will store, because the content of b is 10 and the variable name is b. So I am recognizing this box by b. So whenever I refer b, I mean I am referring 10. And in the computer memory, there will be some address on which this is getting stored. So let's say that address is, let's say, 6422.304, right? So for computer will say, okay, I will remember that 10 is stored at this particular location. But for humans, you can remember that 10 is stored at a location known as b, right? I hope at least this point is clear. Any doubts or queries, just say me now. Initially a bit tricky to understand, but once you get a hang of it, it is easy to understand, right? So now this address, right, whatever we are representing in computer memory, there should be a way by which a program can access it, right? There should be a way, and that address is basically represent using the ampersand icon. So if you can see ampersand of a, the variable name was a. If I want to get the memory address, again let me just write it down. If I want to get the memory address of a variable x, then use ampersand x, right? Not the bracket, just ampersand x. So basically this icon is usually used when we write, let's say, apple and mango, right? You use this ampersand icon and it is easy to remember, right? A for address and A for ampersand. So this way you can remember that ampersand basically is the representation of the address. So when I am typing in this particular code, when I am typing that I want to get the value of ampersand a, that means I want to get the value of the address where the variable a is stored, where the variable a is stored, right? So let me just execute this again. Okay, I had some b and c also here, right? So now just see, for this particular code, I am just copy pasting but replacing the variable name B and C. Now let me just execute the code. So you can see I have an address 6422300, then I have an address 6422296, and then I have an address 6422292. One interesting thing that you can observe here is that the difference between these addresses, right, 292 and 296 is 4, because all other digits are same. Then 296 to 300 is again 4, right? Why this is 4? Because when the compiler executes, it has a tendency to store the data one after the other. And as you must have already learned till now, that integers take 4 bytes in the memory. An integer takes 4 bytes in the memory. So you can see the gap is of 4. 292, then 296, and then we come across 300. So let's say if I define another variable, let's say D. So let us say D is 1919, right? So let us make this as D. Ampersand D means ampersand is address. The star ampersand, I will explain you what is the thing. So you can see this becomes 288, right? So in some compilers, the order may be increasing, right? It may become 300, 304, 308, 312. It may happen that also. And in some compiler, it may actually give a random memory address, but that is actually very rare. That used to be very, very old compilers. Nowadays, they usually assign sequentially, one after the other. Fine. So I have, there is no doubt till now. So you understood what we refer to ampersand variable name. Ampersand means it's a address of that variable. Now let us see what happens with star ampersand A. So you can just see it like this. We have A and we have our rectangle storing the value 5. So A is equal to 5. Ampersand A means, so address of variable A, right? Ampersand A for ampersand, A for address. So in our case, the ampersand of A basically was returning 6422300. Now there is another thing that I did in the code, that was star ampersand A. So when I wrote star ampersand A, so what does ampersand A mean? Ampersand A means address of variable A, right? So you know this is ampersand A. So this part I have written ampersand A, right? What does star mean? Star basically, oh sorry. So ampersand A is nothing but address of variable A. It's not clear. Address of variable A. Now what does this star mean? Let me just change the pen color. This star means that value at, right? Hence I'm writing in blue. So ampersand A, you know, it is the address of variable A. Star, it means, the star sign basically just means two words, which is value at. Now I am writing this star ampersand A. So how will I read? Value at and ampersand, I already know, address of variable A. So now what was address of variable A? Address of variable A was this thing. So basically the sentence becomes value at 6422300, right? So what is the value at 6422300? So you can see this particular block, 6422300. So what I'm asking, I am asking the value which is stored at 6422300. What is the value? The value that is stored at this particular address is 5. So once again, there are two ways where you can identify this. Either you can access phi using the variable name A, that is the easiest thing, or you can say this: I know the address where phi is stored, please provide me the address, the value which is stored on this address. So basically, if you see in a real life scenario, right? So I can give an exact address where I can meet you, or I can tell you a landmark to come and then I will meet you there. So both are one and the same thing, just that landmark are more famous to identify because landmarks are already known to many people. So you can say this variable name is like a landmark. It's easy for the programmer to remember and understand. And this address is basically the exact address along with the pin code, right? Opposite to SBI Bank, near this, with the pin code of this, right? So for this particular thing, we actually have done now three things. Pen color, let me just change. So we have a simple variable name. This is the variable name. Ampersand A, because A for ampersand, A for address, address of variable name, and star ampersand A. That means ampersand A, we know it's the address, and star, you can just think of it, content of the address, right? So now this is done. So now I hope now you will understand this. So for example, even if you are printing the value of, okay, so let me just keep this as it is. Value of C is equal to, we just write C. So you can see whether you print it C or another representation is equal to %D, and then I'm writing star ampersand C. And now let me keep this in this line. Oh, sorry. Guys, so we have the value of C as 99. I am just printing the address. Address means ampersand, which is ampersand C here. And then I'm having the value at the address, right? So what is the value of the address? Initially, I'm printing the address. Value at address 6422292, which is same as this thing, is 99. Of course, because C was 99. And okay, I missed the percentage D here. So now you can see I'm printing the value of C by two manner, right? C equal to %D, I just access specifier. Then I'm printing C and I'm printing star ampersand C. So you can see value of C is equal to 99 and another representation C is equal to 99, right? Just another way, because if you are using the address, then you need to specify the star operator. One thing which I forgot to tell you is this. So for remembering it easier, assume that whenever you see a star and an ampersand, whenever you see a star and ampersand, internally assume that they cancel out each other, right? So whenever I'm saying ki, okay, value of D is equal to, so you know it's an ordinary variable, no issue. If I say value of star ampersand P, so the moment you see star and ampersand, just cancel out each other and assume now it's an ordinary variable. This is just for simplicity, because internally ampersand P is the address and this is the value at the address, and that's it. So now we have a code here, swap by reference, right? The code is very similar. If you can see, we have temp equal to A equal to B, and B equal to temp. But now just see the output for this particular code. It will change the value in the function as well as change the value in the main. So it says values before swap, right? We have M is 22, N is 44. Values before swap is M and N, which is nothing but 22 and 44. Then I'm calling the swap function. Now just see, instead of passing the values, I am actually passing the address, right? Because ampersand M is equal to address of M, right? Similarly for N also. Now instead of value, so if I show you the value program, see here I am using swap A comma B. Let me just copy this here and comment it out, right? So if you can see the variable comparison, in the previous case passed by value, I was just passing the variable name, but here I'm actually passing the ampersand, so I'm actually passing the address. Now similarly for collection, if you see in pass by value, let me just copy the function here in pass by reference, right? You can see this was integer x, this is integer asterisk a. integer y, this is integer asterisk b. Now I will explain you how this actually works, right? Our same box method. So let me just keep this on the left hand side. Go to the next page, hide menu. Okay, let me just check. The pen color is black. Okay, so using our standard box diagram approach, now let us see what happens. We have the main function, right? In the main, I am defining m is equal to 22 and n is equal to 44. So our standard memory representation, what it will say, m and n. And m will have a value of 22, n will have a value of 44. Right? Just for understanding, let us assume that these are stored at some particular memory location, and let us keep that location as 1000 and 2000, right? So these are just arbitrary numbers. A compiler technically will store this as 1004 because they store it sequentially, but for our understanding, let us assume that they are stored at a memory location 1000 and 2000. Now you know that how do you represent this? This is ampersand am, right? M is the variable name. I do ampersand am, I will get the address. Similarly, this is ampersand n. So now I will try to make it as easy as possible. Again, pen color and hide menu. Okay, so now what I am doing, I am writing a function and I am passing ampersand n and ampersand n. So internally what happens? What is the value of ampersand m? Ampersand has a value of 1000. So these are address actually. Just remember these are addresses. So I am passing 1000 and I am passing 2000 because ampersand n is an address and the address of n in the memory is 2000, right? So now you can see instead of passing 22 and 44, I am actually passing the respective memory location, right? I am actually passing the respective memory locations. Now let us see how do we define swap. We are saying void swap integer asterisk a integer asterisk b. Now just see what happens. If you remember our previous code when we did swap by value, a was copied to x and b is copied to y, right? If you go by the same thing, ampersand m will be copied to a. Just forget about the star right now. Ampersand m will be copied to the variable a and ampersand n will be copied to variable b, right? So what happens? This 1000 gets copied to a and this 2000 gets copied to b, right? So internally what will become, what this program will become, void swap int, I am just writing in bracket for your convenience, star 2000, right? I hope it is clear till now. Because we passed ampersand m was nothing but 1000, ampersand n was nothing but 2000, and I used two variables a and b to catch. So ampersand m, the whole value of ampersand m, which is nothing but 1000, is copied to a, so it becomes like 1000, and it gets copied to b, which becomes 2000. Now again, what was our logic? Integer temp is equal to x, x equal to y, and y is equal to temp. And this is, okay, we are using a here. Okay, and then we are using star here, right? Now let us see what happens in each of this loop, right? So the moment you assign integer temp, right? So what will the compiler do? It will make a variable temp and assign a blank rectangle to it. Right now, just see, and we also, so the first statement when you read temp is equal to star of a, what did I say? Star is nothing but value of or content of. So now what does a contain? So let us see how does this get expand in the memory. Asterisk of a, what was a in our case? That means asterisk of 1000. That means asterisk of, this means value at address 1000. Right, once again, when I do, as you saw, ampersand m gets copied to a, right? Ampersand m does not, ampersand m gets copied to a. So what I am saying, assign temporary the value of asterisk a. Asterisk means, as we already see, asterisk means, so the value of address in a. What is the address of a? So the value at 1000. So what is the value at 1000? The value at 1000 is actually 22. So now you see, actually we are passing the address. We are referring to the value by its address. So what will temp become? Temp becomes star of a. That means star of 1000. What was star of 1000? So this is star of 1000, which is this. This is star of 2000, which is 44. So temp has the value 22. Now I am saying star of A is equal to star of B. That means star of 1000 is equal to, what is the star of B? B had the value 2000. What is star of 1000? Is 22. But in the box representation, what is star of B? That is star of 2000. Star of 2000 is 44. And what is star of a? Star of a basically represents this particular box. So if you see, this 44 gets into this particular box, which is nothing but star of 1000. So now star of 1000 will now actually have the value 44. Just see that we are actually computing everything on the basis of address. This 44 was asked to store in the value star of 1000. And the last statement is very simple. We have temp, right? Temp had the value 22, and I'm asking the temp to get stored in star of B, right? What was star of B? That means star of 2000. So what is star of 2000? This will become 22. So if you see in this particular loop, since we had used star and the ampersand operator, everything was dealt in terms of address, right? You just try to execute the code again and try this box approach, and you will get a clear idea. And as a result, because you were changing the star of 1000 and star of 2000, all the changes were actually happening in this particular memory block. Right, every change in the function, I made only one variable block, which is of temp. Rest all I was directly referring to the address, and hence these values were getting changed. Right, tomorrow again we will actually see this program once again. If you have any doubts, I would again recommend that please go to the Dropbox folder, go in the reading part, go in Let Us See by Yashwant Kanetkar, and go to 195 in the PDF, but actual page is 178. Please read these 10-15 pages, you will get an idea, right? Pointers are not difficult, but initially it takes a bit of drawing these kind of boxes to understand. So I think the lecture ends today. If anybody has issues, they can wait, others can leave. So it depends on you. We will again see this example tomorrow. Don't worry. The pointer notation we will again see tomorrow. Okay, if everything is fine, then I just stop the screen share. Thank you, class.